Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First and foremost, on behalf of the Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, I want to welcome you again to today's webinar. My name is Amir Aviles, Business Consultant Supervisor here at the Small Business Center, and I will be your presenter. Let me start off by first saying how excited I am to be presenting today. So far, we have over 59 participants, and the count keeps going up. And really, what this number goes to show is the vibrant entrepreneurial spirit that thrives here. And so rest assured that the City of Chicago is dedicated to supporting you on this journey. And so that being said, today's webinar titled How to Obtain a City of Chicago Business License has been designed to give you a high-level overview of what you can expect when it comes to obtaining a City of Chicago license. We will cover what the process looks like if you're looking to submit this application um, in person versus online. We will also take a look at documents needed for your application, information that will need to be furnished, steps to receiving zoning approval, the application process once zoning has been approved, paying for your license, probable inspections your business will undergo, holds that may prevent license issuance, and finally, receiving your business license. As a bonus, I will also provide insight on how to renew your business license when that time comes. And so to begin, let's talk a little bit about what this application process looks like if you were to start it online versus in person. So applications can be entered through our online portal, Chicago Business Direct, if you choose to submit it online. And so if you choose to go the online option, what you'll first need to do is register, and this can be done at chicago.gov/businessdirect. Once there, what you'll do or what you'll be prompted to do is create a profile. Now do note that only one user profile is allowed per person, and so you want to be sure to read the instructions carefully so as to ensure that the created user profile is compliant. Email and photo ID verification to access license services online will be needed. The application process, once you've registered and created a profile, so the actual application process is self-service. And so what this means is that you'll be supporting or you'll be uploading any supporting documents on your own. There is a consultant working with you on your application, so it's not an AI or an automatic response. It's an actual consultant reviewing your application and working with you to get it to the finish line. And notifications pertaining to your application are going to be sent via email. Do note that there is a $25 fee, deposit fee, that is non-refundable. And so you want to make sure that as you initiate this application process online, that you do your due diligence. Now, if you were to start the application process in person, this application process in person can be done at City Hall, 121 North LaSalle, between the hours of 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. And so that's going to be 121 North LaSalle. And the floor is going to be the 8th floor, room 805. We operate on a walk-in basis, so there's no appointments. And so what you can expect when you come to the center is you'll see a reception where more than likely there will be one or two consultants greeting you. And so they'll more than likely call you over, or you'll see the line. You'll just make your way to the line. And really what they'll do there is they'll just ask you a reason for the visit. And then depending on the reason for your visit, in this case, it's to initiate an application. They will then proceed to ask you some additional details regarding your business activity. And from there, what they'll do is they'll direct you to the appropriate department. And so they'll issue you a ticket, and that ticket number was going to be displayed on a screen that we do have here at the center. So you'll see the status of your number and where you are in line. Wait times, should you be looking to visit us in person, they are available online. And so if you wanted to just ahead of time look at what the wait times are, this can be done by visiting chicago.gov/business license. Now, by the time you're looking to apply, you should already have your business registered with the appropriate government agency, or at least um, have had an idea of how you plan on operating. And the reason being is because we're going to require documents to be able to validate your entity and to be able to create your relationship with the city. In addition to that, how you plan on operating will also dictate, to a certain extent, some of the documents that we're going to need for you to satisfy. Those documents could include articles of organization if you're establishing yourself as an LLC, or articles of incorporation if you're establishing yourself as a corporation. We will also need, and these documents can be obtained through the Secretary of State. We will also need your EIN number, which can be obtained through the IRS. And then if you're going to engage in any sort of sales, so if your client is walking away with something physical, then you'll need what's called an IBT number, and this can be obtained with the Illinois Department of Revenue. And then for all applications, just do know that we do need a valid identification. Now, if you're going to apply as a sole proprietor, you will need to register your assumed name or your doing business as with the Cook County Records Office. And this is to ensure that you are permitted to use that name per availability. Now, do note that if you are a registered business in a state outside of Illinois, you will need to register your entity as a foreign entity with the state. So, for example, if you were previously registered in the state of Wisconsin, um, that legal entity, should you be looking to operate within the state of Illinois, would need to get registered as a foreign entity with the state of Illinois. So once your documents are in order, then it's time to submit your application. If you're submitting the application in person, what we'll have you fill out is a BIS form, or business information sheet. And this form can actually be pulled up online prior to your visit. So just note that this application, the paper-based application, is available online at chicago.gov/business licensing, so that you can kind of, number one, get an idea of some of the documents or some of the information that we're going to require, but at the same time, so that when you come to the center, you already have a filled out application. And if you don't have a filled out application, that's okay. No need to panic. We will provide you one at the reception or at the counter when you come to the center. Um, if going online, then you'll enter your information via the online platform. Um, all applications will require the ownership information for all controlling parties. And so, what in essence this means is owners, managing members, whoever gets listed as the secretary or the president, partners, we will need all the ownership information for each and every one of them. And this information could include, or includes, I'm sorry, name, date of birth, social security number, among a few of the items. Your application will also call for the address, and so we want to be very specific as far as where it is that you plan on operating. And so um, the way you want to think about it is, we don't license. Number one, we license your activity, but number two, we license your license is attached to the address that you're conducting business out of, and it's non-transferable. And so we need to have the exact address of where it is that you plan on operating. If it's a suite, if it's a floor, we want that information furnished on your application. And then this is so that your application can get properly zoned, and so that you are licensed in the space where you're allowed to. And again, this is because each and every license, the licenses in general are location driven. As part of your application, we will also need the square footage of the business location. Um, And the reason being is because some of the license sites, the license fee itself is driven by the square footage. And so an example of this would be a restaurant. The license fee is determined by the square footage of your space of operation. Um, on the other hand, if you're operating just a retail sales or a retail store, the standard fee there is going to be $250. However, there are some license types that, again, the fee is driven by square footage, and so you want to ensure that you have the appropriate square footage on your application. At times, if you're unaware of what the square footage is, it is available on, for the most part, it tends to be listed on the lease agreement. So if you're leasing, most times we can find the square footage there. And so you'll want to reference your lease. And then let me just briefly go back to the screen here. We will also need a detailed description of your business activity on your application. So there is a blank space where you can provide a detailed description of what your business activity will be. And so really what we're looking here is we want to know what service or product are you offering? How are you making money? The more we know, the better. Don't think that we're asking these questions to be nosy. Ultimately, what we want to ensure is that we don't under license you, or that you don't obtain the proper license for that matter, because if that happens, it could lead to problems down the road for your business. And so, at the time of your application, what we want to ensure is that we have all the facts. We want to know exactly what your operation is going to be. Again, key questions to ask yourself, or key information to provide us is what service or product are you offering? How are you making money? So are you providing a service such as cutting hair, or are you selling a product such as furniture? Um, if Perfect example, if you are a restaurant, are you also gonna um, dabble into the space of wholesale? Because if you're a restaurant with on-site dining or carry out, but then in the back of your mind, you're also, well, you know what? Some of the food that I produce, I want to sell. I want to wholesale. Um, that's information that we need to know, because at that point in time, the location that you operating out of may or may not allow for wholesale activities. And so, the more we know, the better. Again, what we want to do is ensure that we don't under license you, but in fact properly license you, so that down the road there's no hiccups with your license. Let's now talk a little bit about zoning. So, zoning is really the first review your application undergoes. And this is to ensure, first and foremost, that the activities that you're looking to conduct is allowed at, again, the location that we're going to license. As highlighted earlier, right, when we think about a license, it's location driven. And so we want to ensure that we have the appropriate address. And again, we want to ensure that we have all the key or all the activity that you're going to engage in, so that zoning can determine whether or not that activity is allowed. To ensure a proper review, as previously mentioned, we want a detailed description of the activity in the space. For some applications, we might require you to provide us a site plan or a survey. We might require architectural plans. And the perfect example of this is, let's say that the space that you're looking to lease out, or the or let's just say that the space that you're looking to lease, or the space that you're looking to operate, um, you're looking to conduct a restaurant out of there. But previously, it was licensed as a hair salon. And that's the last item that we have on record. We'll obviously need architectural plans, permits showing that that space has been converted from what used to be a hair salon to a restaurant. Um, and so this is just an example of when you would need some of these documents. Some applications do require compliance with parking. And so an example of this is if you are in a indoor event space, there's a 10% parking requirement. If you're using the driveway or the alley, you will need some sort of permit from CDOT. which is the Department of Transportation. Now, as you get ready to apply or you go through zoning approval, keep these reminders top of mind. Check with us first. You can either shoot us an email or come in the office and provide us the address where you're considering establishing your business. What we don't want you doing is getting into some sort of financial commitment. You then come to our center, provide us the address, and turns out that activity is not allowed. You'll then have to, um, you know, look at what your options are, right? You might have to, if you had the idea of operating a hair salon, but a hair salon is not permitted, you now find yourself in a bit of a pickle. And so again, before you get yourself into any sort of financial commitment, provide us the address. Again, you can shoot us an email so that we can help determine whether or not that activity is allowed at that address, or you could also stop by the center, provide us the address, and we would again determine whether or not that activity is allowed. But what we don't want happening is you're not permitted to do such activity. And then also don't assume that because the previous occupant zoning designation, that the previous activity also applies to you. So for example, if you're taking over a hair salon, um, don't assume that because it was previously a hair salon that you'll be able to conduct a hair salon there as well. Again, you want to check with us first. There are certain license types that require special use. An example of this is I would use again a hair salon. If you're looking to apply for a hair salon, there can't be another one within 1,000 feet. If there is, more than likely your application will get denied, and then you will have to go through what's called a special use. And so again, don't assume that because it previously served as X, Y, and Z, that you'll be allowed to conduct the same type of application at that same site. And just understand that there's going to be some supporting documents that may be required. Again, an example of this would be permits, plans, architecture drawings, and I'll reference the example that I gave you previously. If the location that you're looking to conduct your business was a hair salon and now it's going to operate as a restaurant, obviously sinks, ventilation, all complete build out is going to be required, and so you'll need to satisfy documents stating that or showing that that's been the case, that it has in fact been converted according to city standards. Now, once zoning approves your application, what we will then go ahead and do is we would generate a full application, which you will need to acknowledge and verify that all the information on there is correct. Um, and part of the completion of this application includes verifying ownership information. We want to make sure that we have the correct contact information, date of birth, items, emails, phone number, and this is so that we are able to, again, contact you if necessary. Um, we also want to ensure that the application you provide as a lease or other documentation showing control of the property. And then you're also going to want to answer the questions, and there's going to be attestations that need to be made. If at any point in time you need some sort of assistance with these questions, we'll do our best to try to help you with them. Now, once the application is complete and reviewed, then the next step after this is a payment coupon is going to be generated. And so it's at this point in time that you would then pay for your license. Payment for your license can be made in person here at the center, or it could also be done at the clerk office here at City Hall on the first floor, room 107. And if you're doing the application online, then you would process the payment through there. Do note that license fees are non-refundable and again vary in cost based on the license type. As previously brought out, if you're looking to open up a restaurant or if your license calls for a retail food establishment license, that fee is going to be driven by square footage. A child care facility, that fee application is going to be 165. And then most licenses, if you're looking to open up a retail general store, that license for the most part will be $250. So again, note that fees are non-refundable and they do vary based off license type. Another thing you want to keep top of mind is that payment does not always mean that the license has been issued. For some license types, what payment does is that it really just triggers the inspections to take place after the fact, which once inspections we, once you've gone through the inspections and approvals have been entered, then that's when your license will be issued. So just again, don't think that by paying for it, it means that your license is going to be issued. It varies depending on license type. Now, when it comes to inspections, um, inspections are license type driven. If you're an administrative office, 10 out of 10 times, you obviously won't need a health inspection. But if you are a restaurant, for example, you will more than likely need a Department of Health inspection. Um, Inspections could include a debt check, um, a health inspection, a building inspection, a fire inspection, and also a fingerprint inspection. Now, in regards to the debt check, in essence, um, what takes place here is our Department of Finance just does a debt check to ensure that you don't know there's no outstanding parking tickets, any outstanding water bills, and if there are, or if you're unsure, you could always get in touch with the Department of Finance so that they can take a look at any outstanding debt. If that happens to be the case, then what you want to do is you want to satisfy it, and it can be done one in two ways. By one, getting on a payment plan, or two, paying the debt in full. Regarding the health inspection, CDPH, if you're operating, for example, a restaurant, health will more than likely need to go out there. And this is to ensure that your space of operation is up to par with the Department of Health's requirements. Building inspection, again, if you converted the space, the Department of Buildings will have to go out and take a look to ensure that everything's up to code. Um, Fire inspection, especially if you're um, retaining any hazardous materials. And then fingerprint-based criminal history investigation. So this inspection takes place. An example of this would be if you're operating a daycare. We would need to fingerprint the owners of that establishment. And again, these are just examples of when some of these inspections could take place. So once you've gone through inspections of any, then you're almost at the finish line. So you want to remember that at this point you've entered your application, you've gone through zoning, you've satisfied needed documents, you've completed your application. The last thing, if any, that would hold up a license would be city holds. And again, an example of this could be if you're past due on parking tickets or if you have outstanding parking tickets. Um, you are past due on your water bill, for example, and so you want to ensure that you take care of these outstanding liabilities because um, if you fail the inspection, then ultimately what that's going to do is it's going to prolong license issuance, and so um, we will let you know when you submit your application, when your physical application gets printed, what some of the inspections you're gonna, and it's not gonna come by surprise. It's listed on your application what inspections are gonna be needed. So, and this is just so that you could get ahead of it in a sense. And then regarding any holds, just do note that instructions on how to resolve them are typically sent by mail to the business locations. And if you're submitting your application online, that hold information is available on Chicago Business Direct, which again is our online platform. So after all inspections are approved and all holds are resolved, congratulations. You can now open for business. And so your license, which is what you see on the screen, will be mailed via USPS to the mailing address, which more often than not is the business location. However, we could arrange for us to for you to come pick it up if you wish to do that. We can definitely get that worked out. Um, and there are going to be instances where if you come to the center, you submit your application, your license actually gets printed same day. Uh, and so again, this varies by license type. If you are a an administrative office, if you are a, a retail store selling just general merchandise, nothing but food, chances are you'll get your license same day if you've satisfied the needed information. But now, if you are, for example, a daycare, if you are a store that's going to engage in the activity of tobacco, if you are a restaurant, more than likely, again, as brought out, you're at, I'm sorry, your application does need to go through inspections. And so, in theory, what that would mean is that you don't get your license same day. Now, let's discuss how to read this license, this blue piece of paper that gets issued, and highlight key details that you want to keep top of mind. And so, the vast majority of licenses issued are good for 2 years. So, you'll see the date that it was issued at the bottom, and then you will also see the date that it expires at the bottom. The upper section of your license contains your legal entity name. So in this case, the legal entity name is the Dan Reichart Hotel. Um, will also has your DBA, which majority of the time is different from your legal name. Think of your DBA as the name one would see on the door of your business or outside of your business. So in this case, the DBA is Danny's Hotel. So the legal entity, the Dan Reichert Hotel, and the DBA, what would be displayed is Danny's Hotel. The license will list your location of operation, which again, this license is specifically to be held at 333 South State Street. It's not transferable. If you're operating a hotel at 333 South State Street, but then tomorrow decide to move to 338 South State Street, you would what you would then need to do is you would have to reapply. That that's a new application, a new license. Licenses are not transferable. Again, as highlighted, the license fee amount varies, which is, and again, it's based on license type. You'll see it there. The license for this, um, the fee for this license is listed as $940. Um, it'll also list the license number, which is the 2983431. Um, but what you want to keep top of mind is going to be the account number that's listed at the bottom. So this is a key identifier of your relationship with the city. So where you see the number 422707, that's really the number that you want to always keep in mind, always want to have readily available, especially when you're going to uh, conduct or engage in any sort of activity that has to do with your license, with your City of Chicago license. Um, After the fact, if you need to renew and you want to do it here in person, more than likely what the consultant at the reception is going to ask you for is your account number. And so, again, this is a key identifier of your business relationship with the city. Next to your account number, you see Site 1. So, what in theory, what that means is um, if you had another location, so let's say Danny's Hotel was going to operate at 323 South State Street. However, they were going to open up a second location at 444 South State Street. The license for that address at the bottom would reflect Site 2, and the license number would be different. The issue date would be different, and obviously the expiration date would be different. Because again, that's now being issued to 444 South State Street, which is Site 2. And again, just reiterate key information to keep top of mind: license name, license number, issue date, expiration date, your account, and site number. And if you do your application in person, a key item we want you to keep top of mind is to please enroll in Chicago Business Direct. As a business owner, there's nothing more important than time and money, I'm sure. And so what Chicago Business Direct does is it makes it easier for you to service your license, to service um, your relationship with the city without having to take the trip down to City Hall, um, unless you want to. Completely up to you. I wouldn't mind you paying me a visit, but ultimately, just be sure that after the fact, you enroll in Chicago Business Direct. As a matter of fact, here at the Business Center, once we've issued your license and you've met with the consultant, we have a computer that's uh, available to the public so that you are able to enroll in Chicago Business Direct. And we have consultants here that will be more than happy to assist you should you need any assistance registering. Again, there's a lot of different services available on Chicago Business Direct that will allow you to easily conduct activity on your license. Along those lines, let's now talk a little bit around renewals, right? So a good chunk of the visits that the Small Business Center receives are related to renewals. While renewals are handled in person here at City Hall, room 805, 121 North LaSalle, um, do note, keep it top of mind, that they can also be processed online via Chicago Business Direct. And again, ultimately helping you avoid unnecessary trips, helping you save money and time. Retrievals or copies of misplaced licenses are solely in person. So if you misplace your license, if you need a copy because who knows what happened to your license, you would then you would be required to come in person, and we would arrange for a reprint. Um, what we would do is we would provide you a reprint form here on the eighth floor, and then you would take it down to the first floor, room 107, which is the Department of Finance, and that's where you'll make payment, and that's where they'll be able to print out your license copy. Do note that for any license, right, license will not be issued until all holds and inspections are resolved or approved. So when renewal time comes, if you do have a inspection due, that inspection first needs to get satisfied before you're able to renew. Or let's say that there's a hold on your account. Um, that hold would need to be resolved prior to your license being able to be renewed. And information around your holds, again, we can provide it to you here at City Hall. It's also available via Chicago Business Direct. And then we would help you work out your inspections with the appropriate departments if there are any. We would notify you, give you the information of who to contact so that you're able to satisfy those inspections. And then in summary, for these services and much more, we invite you to please visit our website, chicago.gov/business licensing, where you'll be able to apply, you'll be able to renew, you'll be able to update information pertaining to your account relationship, your license. You will also find key information on required documents, application steps, and license types. Should you need additional information, I would highly encourage you to pay us a visit uh, in person. And you could always shoot us an email with any questions you might have as it pertains to being licensed with the City of Chicago. And this can be done at businesslicense@cityofchicago.org. Questions related to Chicago Business Direct. So if you're having issues with the platform, maybe you need question, or if you have questions registering, anything pertaining to our online platform, um, you can email Chicago Business Direct at cityofchicago.org. And so, all in all, just remember that we're here to help. This licensing journey could be somewhat of a lot, but the city of Chicago is committed to helping you. And so leverage us. We are a resource. We are here to help and assist you best we can. And so that actually concludes the presentation. We'll open it up for questions.
Hey, Amir, I'm shifting through.
So looking at some of the Q&A,
No question starts at 317 in the chat box.
so one of the questions here is, what type of license do I need to teach martial arts slash community center? Um, so really what we would want to know there is what percentage of the students that you are teaching are going to be children and what percentages are going to be adults. Depending on that information, we will then be able to dictate the type of license that you would need and the type of inspections that you would undergo. So again, this is the importance of providing us more or providing us, and again, in your consultation, we will really jump into it. We will jump into um, the ins and out of your business activity. We'll ask you questions around what percentage is children, what percentage is not. But ultimately, if you're looking to teach martial arts, be a community center here within the city of Chicago, you will more than likely need a license. And again, this can be done in person or it can be done online at Chicago Business Direct. What kind of license slash zoning is required for a mobile business like a food truck? Great question. So if you're looking to operate a food truck, a couple of things that we're going to want to know is number one, we're just gonna assume here that you're in the city of Chicago, and so a couple of the requirements that you're gonna need to meet is you're gonna need to provide us with uh, your certificate of sanitation, so your food manager certificate from the city of Chicago, and then we're also gonna need an agreement from a commissary or what's also known as a shared kitchen, and so we would need this information just in order to even create the application for you. But in theory, that's what we would be looking for if you're looking to operate a food truck. A couple of things that we would want to know is, are you just simply dispensing food? So like, are you preparing it um, at a restaurant that holds a supplemental license, or are you preparing it at a shared kitchen and then just dispensing the food, or are you preparing the food in the truck? And so again, this is where we would really dive into the plan of operation, um, and then from there provide you the proper guidance. But you would need a license um, if your mobile food truck or your operations here in the city of Chicago. And again, two key requirements: City of Chicago food sanitation certificate, and then an agreement with a shared kitchen. And this is so that we know where you're going to give maintenance to your vehicle. It can't just be cleaned at home, for example. What if you are starting off as an online business? How do you obtain a license, such as greeting cards? Okay, so I'm going to assume it's like business cards, greeting cards. So again, right, we would really want to know a little bit more about your business activity. But we do license online businesses that maybe operate from home. Um, so a couple of things that we would want to know is, so these cards or these greeting cards, where's the inventory going to be stored at? Are you planning on keeping it home, or are you planning on renting out a space, right? More often than none, we wouldn't allow for you to keep inventory at home, and so just depending on how big your operation is, um, you would kind of want no, you would want to figure that out, um, so that when you come to your consultation, we're able to provide you with correct information. Um, but for home-based licenses, those are strictly done here in person. So it's not an option available via Chicago Business Direct. Let me see what else we have here. All right, I'm gonna go to the chat really quick because we also have some questions there. Um, do you? Sorry, let's see. Take a look. Bear with me here. There's a lot of questions coming in. So If the business is located in a different place from the business office, what to put on the application, like square footage, business location. Um, yeah, we'd probably want to know a little bit more about your operation, just because in theory, what we license is uh, the business location where you're conducting business out of, unless you're like out of state or something. But we'd probably you could always shoot us an email, and we could at businesslicense@cityofchicago.org and carry out a conversation there. Um, to here, can you share the email we can reach out to in order to check for a potential location zoning? Yeah. Again, it's businesslicense@cityofchicago.org. Let me see here. For the online application, can you show us how it looks via the portal? So we actually have a YouTube channel. We actually had a really great webinar around Chicago Business Direct. Unfortunately, I don't have the capability or the bandwidth to be able to show you that right now, but if you go to our YouTube channel, there is a webinar specifically around Chicago Business Direct that will show you the ins and outs of how that portal looks. Okay. So is it possible to open a hair studio salon next to a current hair salon that specializes in different services? I've seen braiding studios next to full service salons. Yeah, more than likely you would have to go through special use, just because again, um, at the end of the day, it's still a personal service, right? Anytime, if you, the moment you braid hair, cut hair, dye hair, it's grouped as a personal service. And so you would more than likely just want to provide us the address so that we can determine whether or not special use would be required. To hear great questions, everyone. Thank you. Let me turn here really quick. Just that I operate a non-for-profit and we would like to do an event space that we need a license and also do some special events with entertainment that may serve alcohol. Would we need a license? Yeah. Yeah. So you would definitely need a license of some sort. Uh, what I would say is come down to City Hall. We'll have you meet with a consultant that can give you specific information pertaining to alcohol, and if that's going to be out of the out of the picture, then we can definitely talk to you a little bit more about the event space requirements. If my restaurant location has substantial space that could offer opportunities for a shared kitchen space, ghost kitchen, where other businesses, would that require a special license or would that be the responsibility of the other business? Yeah, so great question. You would actually have to come in and apply for what's called a supplemental kitchen license. And so the moment you apply for this license, this would trigger, obviously you would submit the application, um, and then this would trigger the Department of Health inspection. They would be, or a consultation, they would be the ones that would want to determine whether or not your space is able or holds the bandwidth to be able to function as not just a restaurant, but also a shared kitchen. But a license for that, it's going to be a shared kitchen supplemental. And again, we have information that we can send you via email, or if you wish to visit the center or chicago.gov/business licensing, supplemental kitchen is what you would want to look into. Let's see here. How do we get credit for this class? Um, Stella, is that something you can maybe answer on your end? How do we get credit for this class? I've seen it both in the Q&A and also in the chat.
Okay. In order to
We'll
receive
get you
credit
that.
for
We'll
this
get you that
class,
answer.
You must be a part of the BACP Entrepreneur
All right,
Certificate
let me
Program.
see what other questions we have here.
I don't think I can even. This thing is not working. Hey, Amir, are you hearing me?
Let me see.
No.
Say I own a nail salon. A license that I acquire, would it limit me to only do nails? Um, yeah, so again, it all depends on what we license for. If you're already licensed, it depends on what you were licensed for. But if you're looking to get licensed, I mean, you could do more than just nails. You would just have to let us know what activity you plan on engaging in, and then again, the more we know, the more we're going to be able to properly license you. And so, if you are going to be a nail salon, let's just say that you also want to do hair, right? Or you want to sell or retail general merchandise, right? You're allowed to do much more than just nails, if that's what you choose to do. At the time of your application, we would just want you to furnish that information to us so that we can determine whether or not the activity as a whole, or what activity is allowed and what activity isn't at your location. All right, let's see here. Yep, and then yeah, so we did have someone provide us the answer to how do you get credit. It says to receive credit for today's webinar, you must be a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program. And to register for the program, you can visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. And then if you're already part of the program, your digital webinar card will be updated automatically. So we got the answer to that. All right. So there's just unfortunately a lot of questions that we won't be able to get to today. However, I highly encourage you to please shoot us an email, businesslicense@cityofchicago.org, for questions related to licensing. And again, if you have questions pertaining to our online platform, Chicago Business at Rec, you can email us at chicagobusiness@cityofchicago.org. And so with that, Stacy, send me an email. Send me an email. I promise you we answer. uh, let's see here. How do you get? What other question do we have here? I'm gonna try to get one more question really quick. It says, can I use a PO box if my business provides a door-to-door service and not a physical location, like personal interpreter, home cleaning, caregiving? Yeah. So PO boxes, we don't license PO boxes. Um, for example, the home cleaning, right? Where are you keeping your inventory? Where are you completing your administrative work from? Um, um, you obviously have a tangible business that can't be done. It requires some sort of physical location, right? And so we do not license PO boxes, even if you're providing door-to-door services. And yes, this recording presentation will be posted online. It'll be available via YouTube on our BACP channel. Great. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. That will actually conclude today's webinar. Stella, we'll turn it back to you.
Thank you for today's webinar, Amir. If you are a part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, your digital webinar card will automatically give you credit. To join the program, please visit chicago.gov/BACP certificate. In order to earn a certificate, you must register in the program. Registering for webinars does not automatically register you in the program. And everyone continue to join this lovely day, and see you next time. Bye.